word blindness. I've noticed that I have some kind of word blindness. I just responded to a comment on a video and the commenter had written investing and I read it as investigating. It's the first time that has occurred, though mainly what does occur is I completely don't see a word until after I have responded to the comment or post on forums, and then I reread, and it happened yesterday, and it changed the context of what I thought. The thing said right about the last 20 years, and it actually said right about a thing and how it has been affected over the last 20 years. I was only rereading my response that I realised I'd completely misunderstood the suggestion as a consequence of missing out one word. And that isn't the first time it's happened. And I'm not dyslexic. It's another word, I don't actually know the meaning of it. It means word blindness, doesn't it? So I suppose in some contexts I must be dyslexic. Is that a consequence of my dyslexic? I wasn't pretending to be dyslexic with my language, my English with an I language. We're trying to be artistic. I was doing what artists do. I was creating a language. I won't go into the full details. And whilst I haven't fully renounced, I noticed I do a lot of itching, don't I? It's interesting, I'll start being aware of it. Where was I haven't completely renounced my unusual script thing. I'm going to have to revert to usual English and focus upon grammar. I'm very interested actually in expressing myself with words effectively, coherently, without getting into the frilly Mr. Corey ways of, I mean, I understand his eloquence or his propensity. I use the word propensity a lot when I'm addressing Corey. His propensity for eloquence in his narratives, in his expression, his verbalization of, well, you could probably tell me better from here on in, as I need a word to express the word that I don't know the rest of the sentence. Bad influence, that, Professor Anton. He'll have you studying philosophy and ideas, though if one listens closely, whilst his net has been widely cast, I'm guessing currently that his focus is, I won't spoil it for anyone, I have to do the research myself actually. I have to look up cognitive dissonance because I've dissed it a couple of times recently and a few times in the past, and I don't fully understand the meaning of it. Beyond, that was an interesting sign, wasn't it? And beyond knowing that cognition and dissonance cognition means one thing, dissonance means one thing. Cognitive dissonance means something different than cognition and dissonance together. And something to do with the mind and its having dissonance. Consequence to what? Consequence to accepting things within the mind that will cause dissonance. It's like that them words yesterday's vlog. And polarity, perhaps. No, fear, it doesn't actually exist. So why is there a word for it other than to get us to fear ourselves, and therefore fear? It's a serious hindrance to development of self, whatever self is, because what is self actually other than a word? Really, I am. And that I am is not it's not an expression that people like, for I'm not quite sure why. Me. I discovered the world. I think I discovered the world was me before I realised it was abusive, in fact. Although I discovered it was me, consequential to the abuse that I rejected and therefore withdrew from interacting with mankind, consequently thereby. Me. And then the very first atom that existed replicated itself into me's. Wow, that's a very interesting let's call it that. And there'll be few watching, and anyone watching, I might put the link in the box, take a leaf out of Mr. Corey's book. Should be an interesting read, that one there, when I'm old in my rocking chair on my porch back on the farm. You know, he comes from a farm and he's in the city learning about words and things, and I'm thinking, I come from the city, my dream's a farm. Interesting. Where I can grow my own food, and I don't really, and dig my own well, dig my own pit for water, to get higher water. And the Indians came savagely, made peace on earth, goodwill to all men, on earth as it is in heaven. Think about that. On earth as it is in heaven. Doesn't that suggest that earth is in heaven? In fact, itself, and always has been. So bringing heaven to earth, what is a statement? Creating heaven on earth as it is in heaven. Though that'll be a translation from the Latin, from the Greek, from the Babylonian, cuneiform, shape shifting, pictorial referencing that came from above. So below, I think we'll end there, because these sort of scattered vlogs, I'm not on drugs, fortunately. My mind tried to get me to get some weed early on. I've got some money. Get some weed, Anthony. You know you enjoyed it previously. Well, I did. Though it's an illusion, you know, getting stoned, actually. Well, it's a difficult one to get one's head round, though I have had my head round it a few times. Well, how can it be an illusion? I'm stoned. Well, you think you are. Your mind's telling you you're stoned. You're in the mind. The mind The fucking mind is, wow, it is the mind, yes. It is the mind. It is antithetical itself. And we are not it, in fact. That I am sure about. Whilst there has been little that I have been sure about in this vlog, that I am sure of from personal experience. Word blindness. So the solution currently is to slow down, stop. I enjoyed, I shall past tense it, reacting, acting in the moment, responding in the moment. I can deal with anything anyone has ever placed in front of me. And the only time I might have had difficulties dealing with such moments was when I was expressing myself dishonestly. When you use honesty, and self-honesty is a refinement of honesty itself. When one is honest about what one is about, and therefore self-honest, there is nothing that can object to you, in fact. That is a fact, tried, tested. I've just shared it with you. I won't ask you for anything for it. I won't even ask you to be honest. Be dishonest if you want to be. Delude yourself. Honesty is real. Given that, anything dishonest cannot be real, and therefore, whilst there isn't specifically any justice currently, honesty will out. It does prove itself over time. It remains here. Merry Christmas.